everybody. My name is Austin Lucas, and you are listening to Rock Paper Podcast.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Scissors beat paper, paper covers rock. Rock beats scissors, Shane covers non-stop. Never know what new kind of guest that he's got coming at you. Live and direct on the spot. Could be rock, folk, country, or hip-hop, jazz. All kind of folks that he has. Could be an artist or a comedian to make you laugh on the
Rock Paper Podcast.
double-decker fudge round, rolling round town. Shane coming at you live and direct from ground zero. He's your hero, he's your bestie. Rock Paper Podcast with Shane Presley.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. Hanging out today with Austin Lucas. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, dudes. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me on.
This is cool, man. I'm very thankful that this happened today. This is very exciting for me. And it's given me something to look forward to because today here in St. Louis, we are at a record cold. It is been zero for a couple days. It's we're supposed to get like 6 inches of snow, and it's just been brutal this week. And so this is a nice little glimpse into of some positivity that I finally get to sit down and do this today. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad to bring a little bit of warmth into your sub-zero temperature.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's supposed to. It's like they're and then they're saying -15, -20 wind chills and stuff, and it's I think the record they said for this time of the year was a low was 19 or something, or high was 19 or something like that. But we're way shattered the record and stuff, so from the 1940s or something like that. But anyway, whatever it is, but we're having record colds, and it is
it's fucking cold in St. Louis.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know, I've been here all my life, so I mean, it does get cold, but this is we're it's colder here. That people were posting pictures it's colder here now than in Alaska or whatever, different things where you expect it to be cold. But so you're in
they like to be hey, look at us, we're supposed to be warmer, and it's actually warmer up north. I remember I was living in Florida. I used to do this thing. I used to make jokes because my mom's side of the family is from New York, and my grandparents used to snowbird it down to Florida. And I had a couple of years where I would go to Gainesville in the winter, and I'd be I'm snowbirding it, because I would be on tour and I could live wherever I wanted to. And I had friends down there, and I would go and move into their extra room for the winter, and I did it a couple of times. And I remember one of the years that I was there, it got so cold that gators and manatees were dying. And I remember they looked at the temperature, and I'm from Indiana, and the temperature in Bloomington, I remember looking at it, and it was I don't know, it was 40 degrees warmer, you know what I mean? In Indiana where I'm from, than it was in Florida in the middle of the fucking state. And I was just what am I doing here? Right. When it gets cold in Florida, it really sucks. It only happens every once in a while where it gets that cold, but it's so humid there. There's so much moisture in the air that that below zero, you know what I mean? Cold really gets into your ass. I mean, it's crazy,
Right. Yeah, man. You, you're in Germany, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. What's it like over there right now? Is it?
It's been really cold the last week. We had a lot of snow, which where I live in Germany is actually not usually the place where it snows or where it's very cold, but it's just above freezing right now. And the last couple of, last week we have had quite a bit of snow, and it's been it's actually been minus 10 or something like that here, which in Celsius is different. It's like zero,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Basically. So, yeah, it's been very cold. This part of Germany is wine country. So it's actually like, not that cold in the wintertime generally. I mean,
Okay.
it's always pretty much above freezing. Like you get some like nasty rain, you know what I mean? Like, but generally speaking, it doesn't freeze a lot. And it's, it's a nicer way of life than a lot of other parts of the country.
Sure. So what made you want to move to Germany? How'd that decision come about?
I mean, it was an accident. I was here when the pandemic started.
So you just got stuck there then?
Pretty much. I mean, it's complicated, but I was here. My girlfriend lives here, and I was in Germany for 3 months, and I just done a tour also, and I was literally flying home the weekend that Trump sent out the tweet saying that all travel from Europe would be banned, and basically, like most things that the dude tweeted out, nobody really knew what it meant or what the legal ramifications were going to end up being. So I had to kind of sit there and go, does that mean I can't go home? And so there was a day or two there where I had to really think about if I could even go home or not, and how I felt about that and what I wanted to do. And so I just decided that I was going to stay here in Germany, and I changed my flight for 2 weeks. And within 2 weeks, I could tell that Germany had a better handle on the pandemic than the United States by far. And so I just kind of kept on extending my plane ticket. And now, I've been here for going on 14 months. It'll be 14 months in a week. Yeah. And I slipped and fell and ended up living in Germany, which honestly, I lived in the Czech Republic for 5 years back in the 2000s. And so acclimating to European life is not very difficult, especially because I tour here at least once a year anyway as well. So, I just, hanging out, and I was like, wow, this is where I am now. I don't mind, and I couldn't, at one point it was like, I couldn't go home because my girlfriend, she was here, and if I flew home, I could fly home, but I wouldn't be able to come back here, because they're not accepting Americans unless they live here already and they have a residency or they have a visa or they have, anything like that. So the last bunch of months has just been me trying to get my visa together, and to become a resident of Germany, so that no matter what happens with the pandemic in the next, whatever, I'll be able to move back and go back and forth actually with impunity. But truthfully, I think I live in Germany mostly now. I mean, I've settled in. I really got a lot of friends, and I managed to make friends even though the pandemic was happening. And, we may not get to be in the same room together a lot, but I still have, good contacts and stuff like that. And it's a great place. Honestly, Germany's got a lot of problems too, but it's a fantastic country in a lot of ways.
Are you getting to play any music out there yet, or live at all, or?
Not right now.
Yeah.
We're in we're in lockdown and have been since October. I had a bunch of shows in November and December, and I was going to have some in February also, and I had to cancel all of them when they decided to lock down. Right before Halloween was when they were like, okay, we really got to do something here. And I mean, it's been a weird, fall and winter, especially because I think in the summertime, it felt like we had it, like the worst was over for Europe in a lot of ways. And that after the experiences of the late winter, early spring, that most European countries had kind of gotten their shit together and figured out how to deal with it. And I think they didn't manage to close up shop fast enough when cases started spiking again. like they tried too hard to like make it kind of like a soft lockdown. Like they thought all over the continent that if they like implemented some of the things, you know what I mean, like that they could like stem, you know, like the tide. But unfortunately, they didn't close up enough of the important stuff, you know, like that they should have been doing. There's a lot of people who, after the summer, had gotten used to being around each other and seeing their families and traveling around and going on vacation. And a lot of people weren't willing to give up that, you know, like, those privileges, you know, so they kept on doing it regardless of the fact that it was not recommended. And it wasn't until basically the government was like, all right, well, we can't fucking trust y'all to do the right thing. So we've got to implement like actual stricter shit and give fines and do all this other stuff. Like, because I think, you know, I would say that the thing about Europe, and especially Germany, is that like their collective infrastructure is really good. And like a lot of the time, I think they take for granted how like people generally are pretty studious about paying attention to regulations and stuff like that. And but that was not like really the case, you know, like around the holidays, especially, you know, folks really weren't able to get over the fact that like they might not be able to like, you know, go and hang out with all their friends on New Year's and have a huge party. And like, you know, there were lots of places like people were having illegal raves like underneath bridges, and like, you know, hundreds of thousands of people were showing up to them. And then like, dude, those are super spreading events. It's just like, you know, that's not like, I mean, I was just looking at it and thinking about it, and I'm like, I mean, did y'all like not learn anything from Sturgis in like, you know, like in the States? Because like, you know, that led to this insane, you know, like it was literally, you know, like the spreading of like the coronavirus across the United States. Like that moment was a crucial, pivotal moment. You know what I mean? Like millions of people went there, contracted it, and went home and spread it all across the country to like rural areas that had thus far not been nearly as impacted, you know? And, you know, I mean, the science is fucking there. Like, you know, like doctors understand what's happening, and they're looking at it and going, hey, y'all, like, check this shit out. Like, stop it, you know? And anyway, yeah.
It's been a wild year, man. Or more than a year now, but yeah, or almost a complete year from March to almost back over around in March. So, but yeah, 2020 got weird, man. And but you mentioned around Halloween, and that was you right about that time you dropped your latest record. So what kind of goes into the decision of like I've been talking to a lot of people, and like, you know, people debating if during a, you know, pandemic was a good time to release a new record or not, or, you know, like especially being that couldn't really tour behind it and stuff. But, you know, so there's still been a lot of people putting out music. So what I'm sure all this conversation was probably going on for you too, like trying to decide when the right time to put this music out was, right?
Yeah. I mean, I wrote most of this record during the pandemic and the Black Lives Matter uprising. So getting it out in 2020 seemed like the thing that had to happen.
Right.
Yeah, I wasn't interested in letting it sit, you know, and I made the record while these events were unfolding, while we were all collectively experiencing them. And so I didn't want to like wait a year when it would be better for me to tour. I mean, honestly, I'm going to go back into the studio and have another record by the time it's time to tour again. You know, like to me, it was just like, this is a thing that has to happen. You know, like I've just got to put out this record, and I got to talk about the things that I got to talk about, because these are the things we're going through. And like, you know, I wasn't really worried about, you know, losing an opportunity to, you know, build my fan base and like bump up my ticket sales. You know what I mean? I was just looking to express myself and have a conversation with other people.
Yeah, that's what's really, you know, like I feel like it's kind of lost in at times with the you know, with the songwriter. That was, you know, of course you look at like Dylan and everything else, whatever, these greats, you know, that's like they were writing these songs and singing these things about things going on at the time, and then like expressing the thoughts that a lot of us, you know, couldn't say it all the time and things. But so that's what's nice to have, like such a these get these, you know, like especially a year like we had where there was so much going on, you know, politically and everything else, and just, you know, there's so many people affected that there was so it's cool to hear that these stories impacted this record and that you had to put these songs out there and get these thoughts out there and stuff. So, and of course, you know, Alive in the Hot Zone is the name of the record.
Mm-hmm.
So you can find that now available. We got vinyl out there now, right? We got those started shipping out.
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's in stores yet.
Yeah.
But I do know that fans who pre-ordered and stuff like that, like they're receiving them, which means that, yeah, the if you want to order it now from one of the record labels who released it, that like you'll be getting it in the mail pretty quick. And yeah, you may not be able to go and support your local mom and pop at this moment by buying it, but you can support your local, or you can support a mom and pop record label buying it from them right now.
Yeah. Well, what's that? Hot Pink, right? Hot Pink vinyl.
Hot Pink was one pressing. I've got.
I saw a picture online there.
I can't remember all the colors. There's 4 variants, and one being black, which is like the main color. But the other's pink, and there's a neon green color also. And I can't remember what color the last one. I think it was a blue, or maybe it was black and red. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I honestly, like, I thought that I would have those LPs in hand on like October 23rd. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, how long has it been now since then? Months. Yeah. It's almost half a year, and I can't even remember what the colors were that I ordered, that I had the, you know.
Yeah. But I think that's super cool. I love collecting vinyl myself. I just picked up the new Lucero record on vinyl the other day, so that was a fun one to add to collection.
Cool. I love the artwork of that record. It's just so slick. It looks so cool. Like every time I look at it, I'm like, man, they nailed that. Yeah. It's just gorgeous. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, great record too, man. That's a fun album.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I just actually had the opportunity to sit across on Zoom here with Brian. So Brian Venable.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
So that was a fun hang.
Yeah, I love that dude. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
He's fun. He and I have a lot in common because we both come from the DIY hardcore scene, and we have a lot of people that we kind of grew up around and know and love, and also don't love. So we always have a good time hanging out and talking about the good old days.
Yeah. But he's also quite covered in tattoos. So you got that in common also. He's
got more than I do.
Yeah.
He's got more than I do. He but you know, it's like he has more fans, so he's got more tattoo artist fans.
All right. Yeah, man. Well, I want to leak some of the music out there. Obviously, it's been available, but let's talk about some of these songs. And you said you're getting ready to release "Cry Over" as a new single here in the end of February, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. What would any stories about "Cry Over" that come to mind you'd like to share?
Yeah, I wrote that song via the internet with a friend of mine named Trevor Keith. He's the lead singer of a band called Face to Face, which is an old punk band from Southern California. Fantastic songwriter, really, really super cool human being. We just wrote the song about the state of the world, and you know, all the things that we see, so many hate crimes perpetrated on, on marginalized people, on BIPOC, on trans people, on all sorts of queer people. I mean, basically, like, we're just looking at this landscape of the world, and especially like the last 4 years, if you look at the statistical data, hate crimes went up. It's like something like 1,900%. It's almost 2,000% hate crimes went up over the last 4 years. And thinking about those kinds of things, it's like, I just kind of asked the question. I was like, what do you cry over? You know what I mean? Like, and to me, what I cry over, like what keeps me up at night, what makes me anxious, is like what humans are getting up to, the ignorance that humans are getting up to, the shit that people tell themselves is okay.
Right.
Tribalism, and inability for people to accept the other. That's a thing that bothers me every single day. So yeah, I want to write a song about it.
Yeah.
Dear exceptional sons of American daughters, what do you cry for, if not the way all our fates were sown so long ago, before we were formed, born to control? What do you cry over? What do you cry over? What do you cry over, if not these things? Tell me all of your thoughts. What tells your stomach and your nuts? What are tears for, if not the way we're trying to turn, when all our screws are tightened by unseen hands we invited in, the lies we believe? What do you cry over? What do you cry over? What do you cry over, if not these things? A wise man fears losing what they love. It all becomes clear when the lights come up. What do you cry over? What do you cry over? What do you cry over, if not these things? What do you cry over? What do you cry over? What do you cry over, if not these things? What do you cry over? What do you cry over, if not these things?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't know. It's so messed up, man. Like, I don't know how to, like, that. I would say that we still have to talk about these things. It's like that. These are things that have been going on for many, many years, and it's still obviously keeps coming up. But it's like, I don't know when or if ever or whatever. Like, it's just like, it'd be nice to not have to talk about this stuff all the time. Where everybody can get along and everything be right like it's supposed to be.
Well, the problem is that people don't want to talk about it, dude.
Right.
And we've got generation after generation of people trying to push things underground,
Sure.
to keep it quiet, to shut people up who are trying to share their life experience, trying to treat people like they're insane when like all they are really is just a little different. We don't, like, we celebrate each other's cultures when it's convenient. Like, we celebrate each other's differences when like it's when it doesn't harm the status quo. And the truth is that like we have to get on the right side of history, and that is that there are so many different types of ways that human beings can be, and if it's not actually harming someone else directly, you know, like then like it's okay,
Right.
you know, like, and if you have a problem with that, you know what I mean, like then you really need to do some deep thinking and soul searching about what it is that's causing you to have that visceral reaction, you know what I mean, like against that other thing. Is it because there's actually something wrong with it, you know, like, or is it because like somebody made up a construct in your head that said that these are the rules, you know, like, and you see people breaking out of those rules and you say that's not okay, you know, like I'm lucky because I grew up in a household that celebrated being a freak. I grew up around other freaks that celebrated being a freak, you know, like we owned it. And like, and I grew up around a lot of different people. That doesn't mean that I wasn't still, you know, like suffering from my fair share of indoctrinations that came from outside. Nor does it mean that my parents were perfect or that my peers were perfect and that they didn't have fucked up ideas that got inside of my head too. But what it does mean is that, you know, like I had a stable base, you know what I mean? Like that said that the other is probably awesome. You know, like the thing that you don't understand is just that, you know, like, so have an inquisitive mind and go find out what it is. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you might learn something really awesome. And I learned that about people, and I learned that about food, and I learned that about music, and I learned that about art, and, you know, like I learned that about literature, and you know what I mean? Like that's why I'm voracious for new experiences and to meet new people and to try new things and, you know, travel all over the world. Like that's, you know, like the reason that I've been so many places, you know, like, and that I've experienced so much is because I was brought up to believe that like human beings only have a finite amount of time to like see and to learn and to do. And if you don't go after it and try to do those things, and you are missing an opportunity that like, you know, like that very few, statistically, very few organisms get, you know what I mean? Like we don't even know how many lives like this, like what we get to experience exists in the whole entire universe, and the universe is enormous. You know what I mean? Like we don't know if there's anything afterwards. You know what I mean? Like we know that the universe is old as hell, and it's going to keep going forever. You know what I mean? Like what if this is it? You know what I mean? Like we miss out on all these different, you know, beautiful things because we're so bent out of shape, you know, twisted up and pissed off all the time.
Yeah.
You know, like this isn't cool. That's okay. No, that's fine. No, I guess that's sort of okay, but I don't get it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
what the fuck is that? You're missing everything, dude. You know? So
Yeah, I mean, I live my life very similar to what you were describing. Like, because like, I mean, that's a lot of why I like to do this podcast, because I like to learn. I like to just, you know, meet new people, discover new music, you know, have these conversations and learn something. You know, not just think I know it all. I like to get the stories firsthand from the people out there, you know, living it and doing it and stuff. So. And then of course, like in my personal life, when, years ago, I was, in like high school, I had this, he was a football coach and track coach and stuff. But by the time I met him, he kind of gotten away from that. I think he was maybe still doing track, but either way, but he he used to say this, live this 5 like your last 5. And, that was like his, you know, just living life, you know, in the moment kind of thing. Like, and he passed away, and really like, you know, his message was even more clear that, you know, you never know when your time is up kind of thing. So, anyway, that's resonated with me, and I try to live life to the fullest every day. Like I go out and go to concerts several times a week and stuff whenever we we're having concerts and things going on and stuff. But so, but you know, I try to squeeze as much life into each day as I can. You know, just because you never know, man. Like saying, like, why not try to get experience as much as you can, like all these different, you know, like saying food, music, whatever, you know, learning about something a little different than what you've been at your own home or whatever. So
yeah,
but yeah, man. So you well, speaking of, like, you know, touring and getting to see some of the world and food and stuff, what do you how do you have like a favorite spot you like to hit? Like, is there certain things you must have while on the road? Like, is there a certain snack or?
I mean, snack, no, but like every city that I tour, usually I know the restaurant that I want to go to.
Yeah.
You know, my band in the States, the Bold Party, they learned pretty quickly that, like, if I said that something was the good thing and we needed to go there, even if it was like on the ass end of the city, you know what I mean? Like, they learned pretty quickly that, like, I knew what the fuck I was talking about.
Right.
You know, like, and that's like, I mean, I've been touring, dude, since I was like a teenager,
Right.
you know? And, you know, I got countless miles, and I've been to most cities in the United States many times, like more times than I could tell you. And so, yeah, I've eaten a lot of different restaurants. I've tried a lot of different things, and, you know, I'm lucky because, you know, it's like, I'm famous enough that I've got fans, but I'm not so famous that I'm disconnected from, like, the people who actually are putting on the shows and, you know, like, and who are coming and stuff. So, like, I'm not hanging out and somebody's like, oh, have you tried this? You know what I mean? Like, this is like, you know, I'll be like, what's this place known for? You know what I mean? Like, and they'll tell me, like, I mean, some will be like, have you had St. Louis pizza? And I'm like, that's a thing? I had no fucking idea.
Right.
You know what I mean? So then, you know, my pal's like, all right, well, you're staying at my house tonight. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to order from my favorite place. And, like, you know, when we get back to the you know, to the house, like, you're going to have St. Louis pizza, you know, like, and I'm like, okay, let's do that.
All right.
You know?
Yeah. We're pretty, like, I don't know. It's very, split, man. Everybody's like either something, you know, some people love it. Some people can't stand it, you know, it's like, so it's, but it's very decisive on, the, you know, some people don't get behind the, cracker thin crust and, you know.
I dig it.
Yeah.
Like, but I don't think that there's any kind of pizza that's like well made that I don't like. I mean,
Right.
I even like shitty pizza. I mean, you know, I'm definitely a fan of the old adage, like, you know, even the worst pizza is still pizza. You know,
Sure. Yeah.
so, but yeah, like, I like it. It's interesting because, like, I look at, like, cross pollination, like, of things, like, because, like, I get to travel a lot, and I mean, I'm not like any kind of an expert, and I'm not trying to pretend like I'm an actual historian or that I understand, like, diaspora, like, as well as, you know, like, many people. But, like, I travel around and I think about, like, things that are typical for different regions, and, you know, like, and because I have actually traveled around, like, to different parts of Europe as well, I've experienced a lot of, you know, like, the things that are typical in different parts of the US, different types of pizza, I've had it in Italy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like, if you've ever had, like, Detroit style pizza before.
Yeah. Not like actually in Detroit, but, you know, I've, like, tried different, like, versions of Detroit style pizza or whatever.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I have in Detroit, no big deal. I've gone to the store. But, like, when the first time I ever had Detroit style pizza, I was like, oh, this is kind of like deep dish. You know what I mean? Like, this is like, you know, this is this, you know, like, and then I went to like, Napoli, and I was in the mountains, and, like, they served me Detroit style pizza, you know, like, Detroit style pizza.
Yeah.
It was like, holy shit, this is like, you know what I mean? Like, this is Detroit style pizza. You know, like, I was like, oh, I get it. Like, a family from this region moved to Detroit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and like their restaurant was successful, you know, like, and like people were like, holy crap, like this is really good. And it became the predominant style. And you know what I mean? Like in that part of the country, you know, like so much so that it's the typical style, you know, like when I look at like St. Louis pizza, you know, it's the thin cracker crust, you know, like that's actually like the way that y'all serve it too, like, which I like to call it like the Midwestern party style, where it's like cut into squares,
Right.
you know, it's like, that's not that, even that in itself isn't like typical just to St. Louis, you know, like there's a lot of, like you walk into any Midwestern pizza place in Ohio, you know what I mean? Like in the middle of nowhere, you know, like I guarantee you, I bet you dollars to donuts, they're serving it exactly like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And a lot of the time the sauce is a little bit sweeter, you know, like, and like, that's, you know, like it's something that's like, you know, like I see the diaspora of it, you know what I mean? It's like if you go someplace and like you've traveled enough, you start to like see that these things became typical and kind of moved, you know what I mean? Like around, and like, it's not exactly the same, but it's a little bit, you know, like it's a variation on it. And like it, you know, and to me, it's really, really fascinating. Like actually one of my favorite documentaries talking about food is this, is the documentary called The Search for General Tso. Do you know that documentary? Have you ever seen it?
I haven't seen that.
It's amazing because it talks about General Tso's chicken, right? And it talks about like the influence of General's chicken on like McDonald's, because chicken nuggets is directly derived from like General's chicken. And like it talks about like how it made its way across, you know, like from China to here, and like where it originated from. And like they talk about Chinese diaspora all across the United States. And like, so not only does it talk about like, you know, this very typical dish that we think about in Americanized Chinese food, like it also talks about the reason why like there's a Chinese restaurant in every single town, you know, like, and the organizations that like actually like, you know, spearheaded and still do like Chinese immigration across the United States, you know, like they, like if a town is only a certain size and they don't have a Chinese restaurant, they'll be like, okay, well, we need to send a family there to do a Chinese restaurant. And the reason why they do that is because there's only certain number of jobs, is actually because of white supremacy. And this is because like there's only a certain number of jobs that Chinese immigrants were allowed to do. Like they could do construction, and they could do entertainment and food service. You know what I mean? Like, and they could do laundry and stuff like that. So there was like only these like very basic service industry positions that Chinese people were even allowed to have, they were even allowed to occupy. And so there are several services actually in the Bay Area predominantly, that like, because that's where Chinese immigrants came in. A lot of Asian immigrants came in through Angel Island. And like, basically there's an organization that was like, okay, we're sending people here, here, and here, and here, and they're going to have these jobs because there's no other jobs that are legal, you know, like, and they were successful at those jobs. And even though now like that law has been stricken down, it's actually been much shorter than you would like want it to be, less than 100 years. Like, even though that law isn't in place, there was so much success with it that they still follow a lot of those parameters. You know, they're still like, basically they can go, you know, like to these different organizations, and they'll teach them how to cook all the dishes that are typical for American Chinese food. And they'll give them all the ingredients, ship them the ingredients to wherever it is that they go, et cetera, et cetera. It's fucking so fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to check that out, man.
Yeah.
There's yeah, I really like, obviously during this time we're having a lot more free time to catch up on some documentaries and stuff. I've been watching quite a few. And speaking of McDonald's, I watched this one, McMillions. There's a docuseries about the scam in the Monopoly game. So there was in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty fascinating. Like I don't know. I never really thought about it much, but like
that sounds fucking right up my alley. Like something to watch.
Yeah, it was on HBO Max. Like somebody, but yeah, I guess this marketing company that helped produce the game pieces and everything for the for McDonald's. Like, yeah, he ended up like scamming like $24 million from the game over throughout the 90s and stuff. So, yeah, it was. So it was a lot of, firsthand interviews with the FBI agents and stuff that were involved in the case and all that kind of stuff. But it was pretty, it was a little stretched out. Obviously, some of those they put more than you really need to, care to know. But I thought it was really well done, the whole thing, though. But
it was a 90. It should have been an hour.
Yeah, kind of one of those kind of things. Yeah, I mean, except for this is like 4 hours. Like, so yeah. That's how they seem to be doing them now. Like everything's in is stretched into a series, like 4 or 5 episodes or something. So, but anyway, yeah, if you get it some time, check that one out too. It's crazy world. But yeah, man, let's throw in one of my favorites from the new record. Obviously, it's all very well done. I like that they're like this, still a lot of dynamic through the record. Like, there's certain different sounds, but that you use and things. But Already Dead kicks off the record, and I really enjoy this song. I like the guitar tone used a lot. They're just sounds good, man. It's just a very kind of classic rock and roll feel to it for me.
It's just a telly plugged in through a dual, like dual reverb.
Right. Yeah.
Just doing the thing,
Yeah. But it was fun, man. So and like I don't know, like again, I think it kind of ties into what the conversation we were having there about like kind of living life, like, just like we're all gonna die someday. So we need to, but then they also say we're already dead. But so I don't know. I think there's a lot to be if you break down those lyrics, I think there's a lot be said in there.
Yeah, I mean, why let yourself be twisted up with hate?
Right.
Yeah.
Why
let yourself be already dead?
Yeah.
Why be a zombie when you could be alive?
Exactly, man.
Let's talk, though we have nothing to say.
But yeah, this there's I don't know, I enjoyed like there's again like kind of those like rock and roller ones, but then you got some that are like more a little bit more acoustic and just it's like I said, there's a nice variety of sounds coming through this record, and that's what I'd always enjoy about listening to your stuff too. Like there's a lot of different things coming through, a lot of different sounds used.
Yeah, I mean, my influences are pretty vast,
right?
You know?
You said you were like that, what, DIY hardcore scene? You said something about that, right?
Yeah, I come from DIY hardcore from like, I come from the anarcho punk scene, you know? I mean, I also come from a bluegrass family. So, you know, it's like, I mean, I just grew up the way that I grew up, and I never kind of stopped being me, you know, which is, I think, I think that more and more people are doing that, you know, like, and people say that like people are staying younger or whatever. And I think that it's just finally over the last like 100 years, people have repeatedly seen that they live healthier lifestyles if they don't like stop doing the things that they love, you know, like, and stop like hanging out with the people that they want to hang out with. And they don't just completely focus on being adults at some point, you know, because don't get me wrong, it's like, you can be responsible. You can do things that are very like not childish. You know what I mean? Like you can live a life, you know, like that's very full, be married, have kids, have a job, all these other things, and still like comic books and not be ashamed of it. Right. You know what I mean? Like you can still go to shows and rock to bands and have a good ass time. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to be ashamed of wanting to do the same stuff you did when you were a kid. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, you know, people are like, oh, you know, it's time to grow up. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, nah, it's time to evolve. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, don't be such a dumb shit like you were when you were younger. Right. You know what I mean? Like, make more responsible decisions, live a bit healthier. You know what I mean? Like, but do the things that you love. Like, don't let yourself get stuck in like a soul sucking, back-breaking cycle that like leaves you completely, you know, devoid of the will to live. You know what I mean? Like, and like, it's an interesting thing that I think that like, I think started with the boomers in a way, you know, like, but like really became accented with Generation X, you know, like, and I hope is passed on to millennials as well. This like desire to stay interested and connected to the things, you know, like that you're passionate about, you know, like, and that means like, you know, continuing to learn about new things and not just sit around and be like, oh, music sucks now because there's nothing good, you know, because there was nothing as good as my day, you know, like, you know, or, you know, this can be, you know, this can extend to many different things. Like you can get interested in new stuff too. Right. You know, I mean, I spent the first, you know, 3/4 plus of my life, like sitting in front of a TV or sitting in a driver's seat, like, or sitting in a bar. You know what I mean? Like those were like the three things that I basically did. I would be on stage also some, but normally I was sitting on my ass watching TV. I was sitting at a bar drinking, or I was sitting in a van traveling to a show. You know what I mean? Like those were the things I did. And I still do those three things, but I also train, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm physical, like I'm super interested in martial arts and like in Muay Thai, like in kickboxing, K1 kickboxing. And like, it's like, that's not, you know what I mean? Like that was not the deployment, you know what I mean? Like for my, like, you know, the logistical deployment of my life or my lifestyle forever, you know, like I hit 35 after being unhealthy for my entire life and like, and not doing anything good for myself. And all of a sudden woke up one morning and like was like, I'm going to go take a walk. And it turned into a long walk. And that long walk turned into running. And that running turned into going into a martial arts gym. And that turned into me becoming a fighter and like, you know, becoming a coach. like this is stuff that like, if you would have told me when I was 35 that I was like going to be, you know what I mean? Like, like a Muay Thai fighter and coach by the time I'm 42 taking fights, you know what I mean? Like I would have been like, you're crazy. That sounds like the dumbest nonsense I've ever heard in my entire life. But that is what I do.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it just goes to show that like you can do new things. You can live, like, as long as you like, at least, I'm not saying that you have to be positive all the time because that's horse shit too. But as long as you have a semi-positive outlook about the fact that like you can continue, you know what I mean? Like learning new things and experiencing new things and that you haven't seen it all, like, because if you're 115, what the oldest woman on the continent, like here is 117 years old. You know what I mean? Like that woman hasn't seen everything.
Yeah. I think when she just beat coronavirus, right? I think I saw that in the news. A 117-year-old lady beat coronavirus.
Yeah. Did she beat coronavirus? I can't remember.
I saw that some headline like that the other day, like on the news. And
if you reach 117, you're the baddest motherfucker that ever happened.
Right. Yeah. Well, you think obviously anybody has been following along with you online and stuff. You posted a side by side and like I'm guessing all that training and everything has helped with your weight loss and stuff. You dropped all kinds of weight.
Yeah, I mean, total, like at my thinnest, I'm actually a little bit heavy right now compared to what I normally like. I'm above my fighting weight by a bit. But my like the lightest I was ever, like from the time like I started training, like I lost like from my heaviest to when I started training 125 pounds.
Yeah, man.
And of course the training helps because you burn calories when you exercise,
right.
But really like it's about, the moderation of diet. It's about creating caloric deficit. Like the secret to losing weight, you know what I mean? Like is literally just creating caloric deficit, like, and of course part of that is probably going to be like working out, like, but unless you are paying attention to what you're putting into your body, the fuel that you're giving your body, and don't get me wrong, I eat a lot of junk. I mean, I eat crap often, you know what I mean? Like I'm not like some Adonis that's like got washboard abs all the time and like, you know what I mean? Like is like looking to look sexy fucking, you know what I mean? Like 24/7. Like, but like when I enter a fight camp, which I'm getting ready to enter a fight camp, like, and I have to get to a certain place, like I know that I have to lose like this coming up, like I'm going to have to lose 8 kilos, which is like 20, like, yeah, like it's like 20 pounds or something, like 22 pounds. Yeah. Like I have to lose that much weight. I have to look at what I'm eating.
Right.
And like, I got to think about what I'm putting into my body. I've got to like cut out eating the stuff that's not good for it because I also, since I'm going to be training so much, I have to have good fuel, like, and these are things that you just have to think about if you want to do those things. And I'm not saying that anybody needs to do that because you can live your life however the heck makes you happy, like, but if you think to yourself, I'd like to lose weight, and that's something you genuinely want to do, then, and you're listening to this podcast right now, I can tell you that you're not going to lose weight unless you go into caloric deficit.
Right.
And that requires paying attention to how many calories you're taking into your body, like whether that means, what you're drinking and, cause drinking calories is the quickest way to put on weight, or, like changing some of the dietary stuff, or even you can still eat the same stuff that you normally eat, but you might have to eat less of it. You have to pay attention to how much it is that you're actually putting into your body, what your portions are like, et cetera, et cetera. It's just, that's how you lose weight.
Yeah.
It's like simple. There's no, like, other than plastic surgery and liposuction and stuff like that, like there's no easy way. There's no pill that you can take that's just going to, like make you lose a shitload of weight, except for cocaine. Yeah.
That was one of, it's messed up, but it was one of my favorite jokes. I listen to a lot of Howard Stern show, and when he used to have Artie Lang on the show, and And they were kind of, giving him a little trouble about his weight and stuff. And he's like, I swear, if you guys just let me do cocaine for a couple of weeks, I'll lose this, just drop right up. And like,
but again, the reason why cocaine does it is because you stop eating. Your appetite goes down, and not that you stop eating, but you eat less.
Right.
Like when you're using drugs, unless you're, like using drugs that, like make you want to eat more. And there are actually some people who still want to eat like on speed and on, like on cocaine and heroin and stuff like that. But like the reason why those tend to like make you lose weight is because it reduces your appetite and it makes you eat less, which puts you in the caloric deficit.
Right. Yeah.
Which again brings you back to the full circle, like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. So I wouldn't recommend going that route to lose the weight. Maybe start with just the dieting and the exercise first. And
yeah. I mean, you say dieting, and I would very directly want to say not dieting. Don't think of it as dieting. Think of it as paying attention to what you eat, because like literally, like there's no fad diet that does anything except for put your body into caloric deficit. You know what I mean? Like all of the fad diets, not one of them is secretly doing something that any of the other ones aren't doing. You know what I mean? Like it's literally just, like creating caloric deficit. And that goes for paleo. It goes for Atkins. You know what I mean? Like it goes for ketosis, the keto diet. Like all of them pretend like there's some sort of like miracle because it's a marketing scheme. And all I'm saying is don't be stupid enough to fall for it. Like if you want to use one of those things, don't let them make you believe that it's the only path forward. Right. Because like there's so many paths forward. And really the best path forward is eating like a well-balanced, like intelligent diet. Rant over.
Yeah, I need to get right though. I'm like, I mean, I don't, it's easy to make excuses and things, but I mean, I was never like, doing like real well, but I started trying to get right a while back. And in 2019, my mother got sick and was diagnosed with a brain tumor in June and passed in December. So like that, yeah, it was brutal, man. But I was that part of the year I was, I spent a whole lot of time, most of my dinners were consumed in, out of a, brown paper bag on, driving from work to the hospital and then back home, kind of thing. And like, so I spent a lot of time eating all kinds of junk fast food and then that led like right into the global pandemic and everything else. And it's like, it's been really tough for me to get right, like I say. And so, hopefully, I'm trying to get back on path now, but I've definitely put on some weight throughout that time and, but depression and everything else. It's will do that to you. There was a lot of days I just couldn't do it, man. Dealing with grief and everything else, it was hard to get motivated to want to exercise or do anything other than, but I'm getting in a much better,
like that's normal. Yeah. And the only piece of advice I give to you here is this: don't pile on the fact that you're not eating right.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like as a thing to make you feel guilty on top of all the other shit that's making you sad.
Yeah.
And I know that's easier said than done, but people self-medicate in many different ways. And oftentimes it turns out to be unhealthy, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't still serve a valid purpose throughout the time period that you're going through. The point that I would make is that when you exit out of that transitional period, if you can slowly, at least incrementally, start to make the kinds of decisions that are making you happier, that's what's important, like societal beauty standards, fuck that. Right. You know what I mean? Like, it's like all the things, I mean, like, honestly, like I got more attention from people I was attracted to, you know what I mean? Like when I was overweight, I mean, not to say that, I can't tell that people think I'm attractive now, but like that like that time period of my life was like, I was big and I had no problems, you know what I mean? Like with, meeting folks that were interested in me,
Right.
Like the problem is like, if you're depressed and the weight and the other stuff and how you feel is making you feel more depressed, then in my experience, and this is just my experience, like I learned that doing something about that, because it's a physical thing that I can actually control, you know what I mean? Like when my career fell apart, no matter what I did, you know what I mean? Like when all my relationships went to shit and everything that I had going for me, like completely just vanished, like the rug got pulled out from underneath me. I felt completely helpless. Like there was nothing that I could do. And like, I got very, very close to like doing something very drastic, like I got dark.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that I found that brought me back was doing something that I could control to make myself feel better. And that was like going on a weight loss journey. You know what I mean? Like that was okay. Like I can't control, you know what I mean? Whether or not a booking agent wants to take me on now. I can't control whether or not I'll find another record label. You know what I mean? Like I can't control, like I can do things to make it happen, to facilitate it, but I can't control the reaction. What I can control is this physical thing. I can decide to make this decision that will actually do something positive. You know what I mean? Like, and that was, for me, it was like the return to physical health, of my journey on physical health, was a pathway towards like getting better, like with my mental health. And believe that, like, like when I was bigger, if I would have been happy, you know what I mean? Like if I would have not been completely depressed, like if I wouldn't have gone through that period where like I felt like I couldn't do anything right and nobody gave a shit about me, I would have never gone on my weight loss journey. Like I just had to control something, and that was possible. So, like on that note, I just say to you, like if you feel like it's something that you want to do because it feels like the right thing, you do it. You know what I mean? Like if you feel like, like you're depressed and you want to go and eat a burger and fries or a whole pizza because that's the only thing that like might make you feel better for a minute, you know what I mean? Like then I'm not going to fault you for that shit. You know what I mean? Like if you got to go have a bunch of beers because that's it, you know what I mean? Like if you need to take heroin because like you need to forget, like I'm not going to judge you for it. I know that it may not be the healthiest choice,
right?
But like if you make those decisions, you know what I mean? Like, because those are the things you have to do to get through the next day, to get through the next hour, then like do it if you have to. You know what I mean? Like I'm all about any positive change, even if that only means like, you know what I mean? Like in that moment, the thing that you can do to like ease the pain, because being a human being can be really hard.
Yeah.
Like, it's not an easy task. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to wake up tomorrow morning and do something that's better for you. You know what I mean? Like, but part of doing something that's better for you is not beating yourself up for what you did last night.
Yeah.
Like, and that's just, that's, at least that's my philosophy.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, that, yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that, Austin.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. I, hopefully, I don't know. I just got to start making some changes and hopefully, get myself, on that right path, to maybe it's, I don't know. It's difficult because like, I don't know that it's going to be, Muay Thai and, kickboxing and things like yours, but, I got to find that whatever it is that it works for me and then pour myself into that and stuff. So, hopefully I'll find it here soon. But
find your passion, like not everybody is passionate about the same things.
Sure. Yeah. But, yeah, man. Well, Austin, that's been super cool, man. I'm really glad we were able to, link up today and make this happen. I really,
Thank you for having me on.
absolutely, man. This, hopefully we can, do it, again soon sometime, whenever, maybe next time you're in St. Louis, hopefully we'll get back on the road here before too long and get to, get back to seeing all of our friends and doing fun stuff like that.
Nothing would please me more than to be able to see that be the reality. Tell you what.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like we obviously we just keep saying it, but hopefully one of these days it's, becomes reality that we are getting closer and closer. I feel like we take a couple of steps forward and then take a couple steps back. So it's like, it's one of those things, but hopefully we're getting close to, the vaccines rolling out and everything else. And hopefully we'll getting back to normal here before too long.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, man.
That's all I can say.
But yeah, I would love to hang out in St. Louis and have some Emo's Pizza with you and listen to some tunes. And
That'll be fantastic. I love that.
Yeah, man. But you get involved with Austin on your Facebook and Instagram. Again, pick up Live in the Hot Zone wherever you're getting your music at today. And but like I said, vinyl copies available on the website and stuff. So check that out and add that to your collection. It's a good one for sure, man. It's a fun record. So
thanks a lot. That's what I was aiming for.
Yeah. So I'm guessing, are you working, or you said you're already looking to hit the studio again soon for another one?
I'm writing, I think I've written in the last year, I've written more songs than I've ever written in my entire life, in a year. I've written like 40 or something like that. So yeah, I got a big collection, and yeah, it's not gonna be very long before I start to think about the next one. I bet you that I'll go into the studio sometime towards the end of summer. I would guess.
Yeah.
So who knows though? The world is all types of messed up. I may drop a record on you, like in the summer for all I know. I mean, right. I might just go like, heck, I got to go do this now. I mean, I told you, I just got a new recording set up. Maybe I'm going to release an acoustic record tomorrow. I don't know.
There you go. Yeah, man. Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Whatever the next, that's me as a fan. Whenever, even though this one's still, only a couple months old, I guess that's how I am. I'll listen to it and I'm like, all right, great. When's the next one? It's like, even though you love it so much, I always still get excited for what the next one's going to be too and stuff. So you always want more.
It will be next, and I hope that you will be excited for whatever the heck it is when it comes down the pipe.
Yeah. Well, very cool, Austin. Well, thank you, buddy. And hopefully I'll see you soon, my friend.
Likewise, dude. Take care.
All right. Have a good one. Bye.
Be good.